Welcome to another episode of the For the Love of Cricket podcast with Jim and Akim. Today we'll be discussing a quite interesting game played between India and South Africa. Both teams are at the top of the table, but it seems India are head and shoulders above all the other 9 teams in this competition. India won the toss, batted first, walked their way to 326 for 5. Virat Kohli getting his 49th one day international 100, tying him with Sachin Tendulkar for the most hundreds in one day international cricket and his second 100 in this World Cup. South Africa, on the other hand, in chasing, were all out for 83. What's your take on today's game?
I think the Indians really showed their class in this game. We knew that whoever won the toss would play a huge factor in deciding the game. India won the toss and batted first, and that forced South Africa to chase. It's a scenario that they're not very comfortable in, as we've seen throughout the tournament, and they have lost yet another game while chasing. I think Virat Kohli was brilliant. He is arguably the greatest 50-over batsman ever. Scored his 49th century in this game, and he really showed his class. And Shreyas Iyer, who has been having a very good tournament, he has been under the radar behind the likes of Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli, but he has played another very good knock for India. And then they got a cameo from Jadeja towards the end, and that really propelled them to a very good score.
This was another game that highlighted what we've been speaking about from the start of the tournament. It is a new ball, first and overs, dominant game. Any team that won the 10 overs of either innings would come out victorious. India won their power play when they were batting, and they absolutely murdered South Africa when they were bowling. Bumrah, Siraj, and Shami were unplayable, and outside of the early wickets of Rohit Sharma, who made 43, Shubman Gill 23, South Africa were blown out of the water by the Indian batting lineup with their class and skill. They miss Gerald Coetzee today, and I think it showed. What do you say?
I agree with you. We did say that the power plays would make a huge difference. India were at 91 for 1 wicket at the end of their power play. They were at 61 inside 5 overs. Rohit Sharma made 40 off 24 balls. And then South Africa, when they batted, they were at 35 for 3 at the end of their power play. So we can see the huge contrast there. Coetzee has been very good for South Africa in the tournament. I like him, as I've said before. He is a wicket taker. He is somebody that makes things happen. He hasn't taken a 5-wicket haul or even a 4-wicket haul in the tournament, I believe, but he's an all-action man. He comes in, he gets the ball, and within 5-6 overs, he has 2-3 wickets, and he's hustling batters. He's making things happen for South Africa. Tabraiz Shamsi came into the team for this game on a pitch that the groundsman said would spin. It ended up being a turner, and he didn't have the greatest game with the ball. He bowled 10 overs for 72. He was bowling to some of the best batters of spin in the world, Virat Kohli, and Shreyas Iyer is one of the better players of spin in the world and in India as well. But I'm sure Shamsi would have been disappointed with that return, and he would have probably felt that his 10 overs should have gone for maybe 50, 55 with another wicket. So he will be disappointed with those returns. But that being said, classy batting from India, and then very good execution with the ball. Ravindra Jadeja, 5 wickets in 50-over cricket, brilliant return.
We saw clear intent to take out the main destroyer for South Africa in the power plays thus far. Marco Jansen, he went at almost 10 and over in this game. Hitman Rohit Sharma was at his brutal best for his brief innings. What do you have to say about India's batting innings?
it was very good execution and planning from India. They know that Jansen is the man that generally strikes early. He started with a leg slip again today. It's something that he has done in the tournament. He got Joe Root out like that, and it's a field that he has used in a number of the games. But Rohit Sharma, as you mentioned earlier in the tournament, averages almost 60 against left arm seamers, and he really let that show in this game. He was confident. He wasn't afraid to take the game to Marco Jansen, and it really put South Africa on the back foot. They were short of a seam bowler because of the conditions, so they played Jansen, Rabada and Ngidi, so they were short of Coetzee, and then it forced them to almost not want to bowl a spinner early in the power play because they had to make changes, but it gave Bavuma a bit of a headache. Virat Kohli and Shreyas Iyer, they batted in a situation or a scenario in the middle overs where the pitch was difficult, and they both commented and praised Rohit Sharma and the Indian team management for sending clear instructions to them, and it was for Kohli to bat as deep as possible in the innings and for Iyer to provide a supporting role because they knew that it was a key period, and they know that their batting is short with Shami batting at 8. So they knew that they had to keep wickets in hand in order for them to post a good score, and they did very well at doing that.
You mentioned Iyer and Kohli batting deep. They both struck at about 85 runs per 100 balls today. Normally, we say Virat Kohli moved through the gears in his innings. It was almost opposite today. He started pretty quickly, about twice the pace that he normally does, and then it's as if he slowed down through the innings. And when you thought that he was going to kick on and pick up, he just continued at that same pace, get to his 100, and by that time, the 50 overs had elapsed. They still got to a very, very good total. As I said as well, the spin, it seemed difficult for them to play the spin. As the ball got softer, it was gripping more and spinning a lot more. What's your take on South Africa's brief innings?
South Africa, they were under pressure from the start. Quinton de Kock went early, he chopped on. He's the man that has been setting the pace for them in the tournament. He has been in blistering form, and I find that he has struggled in the chases for them in this tournament, and him getting out, I feel, sends shockwaves through the team. Temba Bavuma got out bowled early on as well. I think that he could have done a bit better in probably going out. He was stuck on the crease. He's a diminutive figure, but that being said, I think he could have been forward a bit more. Aiden Markram got out caught behind, and when they lost those 3 wickets, it almost felt as if it was deja vu. It was panic stations again for South Africa in a chase. None of the batters got a score or anything decent. They got bowled out for 83. I worry about somebody like Klaasen batting at number 5. I worry about him batting at 5 in conditions that do not suit him when there isn't a strong platform there. He has displayed the ability to be very dominant when South Africa are in control and they're on top. If he goes out to bat at probably the 28 over 30 over 35 over mark, where South Africa are well on their way, they are 200 for 3, 180 for 3, that sort of situation. But when South Africa are 35 for 3, I'm not sure, or he hasn't shown thus far in international cricket, that he's capable of handling a situation like that. And you don't want to label him as a good weather or a flat track bully just yet at this stage in his career, but it is something that he will have to look within himself and address. And it's concerning for the South Africa team, because as good as De Kock has been, he can't keep batting like that forever in this tournament. There are going to be games in which he does not fire. So that middle order needs to address that. David Miller is a bit more established and proven than Klaasen, but I think he has a similar problem as well. When the conditions aren't right and it's not the last 12 or 13 overs for David Miller to come and fire and blast and finish off an innings, I'm not sure he's as good as that. So teams will look at that and they'll think that if they can get 2 or 3 wickets early against South Africa, they put them on the back foot.
You mentioned the cut going early, bold inside edge. I thought from the start of his innings to the end, he looked unsure. He got a full toss from Boomerang outside his half stump and missed it. And I was like, something is off here. Additionally, when South Africa gets those big totals, it's always on the back of the Cox run scoring at a higher rate. If you look at their batting lineup, there is no batter that scores consistently at a strike rate above 100. Coming down to Klaasen. After Klaasen and below, down to Jansen, they have persons who can score quickly from the beginning of their innings. If you look at the captain Bavuma, number 3 Rassi van der Dussen, number 4 is Markram. Beside that very quick 100 that Markram scored in the first game, he's generally a player that bats at about a strike rate of 80 and then tries to push towards 100 towards the end of his innings. So with the cut going early, it would always be difficult for them to dominate that very, very good bowling attack that India has. Those 4 bowlers, well, 5 if you count Kuldeep.
Yeah, Kuldeep has been steady.
The way they've been bowling well in the last 2 games, he has been just coming and cleaning up the tail, basically. They can't get on top of that bowling attack for long if the cut doesn't bat through the power play. It's going to be very difficult. All 3 seamers swing the ball both directions. Yeah. And they're always attacking the stumps. The top of the stumps, they're always attacking the top of the stumps. And they're not slow. How do you think India bowl?
I think they bowled very well. They bowled well from the start. As you said, the seamers were attacking. I think that was the key. Generally, South Africa are a team that go out attacking in the power play with the cock, and India decided to attack as well. They felt as if they had a good enough score on the board. They didn't have to be conservative or defensive from the jump. They could just go out attacking, and they also back the spin bowlers, I believe. I think that they trust their spin bowlers to come and bowl their 20 overs for 80 runs. 20 overs for 80 runs, and they expect them to pick up 4 or 5 wickets. They have that much confidence in their spin bowlers that they can attack in the power play, and if the power play doesn't go their way, they can pull it back. I think it speaks to the strength of the unit and how rounded they are. Generally, we find teams in this tournament that are either seam dominant or spin dominant, but they have the perfect balance. And because they attacked in the power play, they got the rewards for it. A key decision that was also made was to bring Jadeja on inside the power play. They got the wicket off the cock, which gave Rohit Sharma the freedom to bring Jadeja on inside the power play, because otherwise we're sure he would not bowl inside the power play with the cock batting with only 2 fielders outside the circle. But spinners will tell you, and I can tell you, that we prefer bowling the ball when it is semi-new or has a lot of sheen left on it, as opposed to bowling an older ball, because you get the ball to spin, it spins off the surface a bit more, it's harder, so it bounces more, and if you have a very good straighter ball, whether it be an arm ball or a drifter, you get it to slide through a bit quicker on the surface, so it's ideal conditions for you to bowl, and Jadeja was able to exploit that in this innings. So I must commend India for how they bowled and how they were led by Rohit Sharma.
You mentioned being confident in the bowling and the fielding unit. I thought that was very, very evident in the field settings. They basically bowled the 3 seamers without a fine leg. Yeah. They had a deep backward square. The fine leg, it was fine leg, quote unquote, but he was so wide that any tickle down the leg side is a sure 4. They're so confident in that seam bowling unit that they don't think they'll bowl any balls down the leg side. On or around half stump, the straightest they will go is middle stump. They are very, very, very accurate and they're bowling very, very, very well and they are catching well as well.
Yes.
And it's really good to see. They haven't had a bad game yet. I don't think they'll have a bad game. I don't think so. What do you say?
The way they're playing right now, I really can't see where the bad game will come from. That's generally how it is, though. Teams play very well, and when it probably matters the most, or when you expect it the least, that's when they have the bad day. I don't want to jinx India, but after seeing them play in the first game or two in this tournament, I thought they were the complete unit. I was concerned when Hardik Pandya got injured about the balance of the team. He has been confirmed. It's been confirmed that he's ruled out of the tournament, but I think Shami has come in and he's added another dimension to them. Pandya was more of a holding bowler, as a seam bowler, as the third seamer, but with Shami, they have a genuine bowler that can attack inside the power play and in the middle overs, and it really makes their bowling attack a lot stronger. They lose a bit with the batting, but it just means that somebody like Virat Kohli and Shreyas Iyer in the middle order, they have to step up and they have to take a bit more time and bat deeper, and that is what they've done. So they look like a very good unit.
Can we say Jasprit Bumrah is the most complete one-day international bowler we've seen thus far?
He's arguably one of the most complete one-day bowlers that we've seen. All phases of the innings, he is very good. We think about probably somebody like Malinga, who was a very good limited overs bowler, but I don't think he was as good with a new ball as Jasprit Bumrah. We think about probably the bowlers from another generation when you think of Glenn McGrath or you think of Curtly Ambrose, but I think the skills that Bumrah possesses are next level.
Yeah, he is very, 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 very good. Swings the new ball both ways, comes in the middle of the innings, hits the pitch hard all times, has a great slow ball with that weird action that he has, and coming in the death, the slow balls dip, and he has the reverse swing, and he lands the Yorkers on cue. Do you have anything else to add?
No, that's all from me.
Alright guys, thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching, guys.